Now you have that chasing arrows sign that everybody's familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
But if you read the fine print, a lot of that stuff isn't actually curbside recyclable. So you're putting it in the recycling bin, but it's going to the landfill. A lot of times that means that those chasing arrows sign will mean that it was made from something previous recycled. Doesn't mean you can recycle it once you're done using it. So there is a lot of confusion there. And I think when everything passes and goes into effect, there's going to be a lot more responsibility on the actual producer, whether you're a brewery or you're a giant conglomerate company, to actually use responsible materials. And then if you're not using them, obviously you're going to be taxed accordingly.
You are listening to the Capital Craft Podcast, brought to you by the San Diego Brewers Guild. I am your host, Eric Fowler, and we are sitting down with Chad Fields and JJ today of Atlantic Packaging and a New Earth project. Welcome.
Hey, appreciate it.
Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, we're excited to sit down today and talk a little bit about something that we haven't really touched much on as a guild and organization and as an industry, and really utilizing packaging and packaging process to lend sustainability to who you are as a company.
You know, a lot of people aren't really thinking about that now, not just in the brewery organizations, but just industry wide. And so I think it's kind of been a little bit of awakening for people recently, like to realize that everybody needs to do better. And that's what we like to help people do. So.
And packaging is a great place to start. I mean, sustainability is a big word on everybody's tongues right now, and everybody uses packaging. It's in every vertical, every industry. So that's what we're here for, to make sustainable options possible.
Yeah, and it's crazy how much post-consumable garbage a household produces. I actually took out my trash before we came, and due to a holiday, I thought it was tomorrow. I hear the trash truck coming and run out there before I'm coming to meet up with everybody here. But there's two big full trash can and then a recycle bin for a household of 2 adults and 2 little kids.
Yeah.
It's crazy
How fast. Yeah. And our president, one thing he says, Wes Carter, like the awakening for everybody was like when you were at home and you're just ordering Amazon left and right during COVID. And then it's like, everybody's trash cans on the street, recycling bins like overflowing with boxes, and then you have all the plastic bubble wrap and things that are coming in with it. So like, I think, COVID was really the eye opener for like the consumer, I would say, and the consumer is driving a lot of like these sustainability movements now for packaging, like that, like they're tired of getting all this plastic at home, and like, people are, the influencers that are at home and they're shooting their videos like, dang, this packaging's terrible. Like, everybody needs to do better. And so that's what we like to help people with is find those solutions.
Yeah, the mentality behind it is, interestingly enough, it's an emotional decision when it comes to implementing something in your process, for a company, or how you actually your purchasing decisions as well. It should be logical, but it's not, and I'll be the first to admit that. And there is an almond milk brand that has plastic bottle with a shrink wrap on it, and it's perforated and says, please remove this when recycling. But without, my wife's always very good, like, we always got to do it. It says that if they put the effort into putting that on their packaging, we need to do it. But there's probably stuff that falls through that doesn't say that admittedly I probably don't separate, and I should.
And there's a ton of that. And I think a lot of consumers are just like, what do I do with this? Do I put this in the blue bin? Do I put this in the trash? What do I do? And a lot of the solutions that we try to come up with are to make stuff that's earth digestible, meaning that it can actually go back into the ground. There is a place for plastic. There absolutely is certain things that have to be in plastic. You're not going to throw protein like chicken into paper anytime soon necessarily. But when we make solutions for packaging, a lot of times, if it's consumer destined, we want to try to make it a paper-based or a fiber-based or some kind of earth digestible product where we can. And then responsibly using plastic is a big thing. It's not necessarily the enemy, but it's using it right.
Yeah. So let's talk about a New Earth project. Why don't you give the listeners a little bit of context on what that project is and how it even plays a role in a packaging company?
Yeah, man. So it's an interesting thing. It's the Sustainable Initiative of Atlantic Packaging, which Atlantic Packaging's huge. It's the largest privately held packaging company kind of out there in the Americas. And a New Earth project is that sustainability arm. We try to reach out to our partners and different clients and different folks that are looking for sustainable packaging solutions, and we help them get them there.
Yeah. Just to go where a New Earth project started is the president of our company, just an outdoor guy, surfer, fisherman. You know, I think the awakening for him was like realizing that like we're part of the problem in the supply chain. And so our focus is the main focus is rid oceans, rivers, lakes of plastic pollution. And so we're going at attacking that by helping get rid of single-use plastics that are in the supply chain. Yeah, and the whole thing started with surfers and outdoor people in the industry that put all this together with Wes and making a presence. We really changed the way most surfboard companies are packaging. You know, not wrapping it in the bubble wrap and pool noodles and stuff like that anymore. We offer a fiber-based solution on it now that's 100% curbside recyclable.
Now is a harder time than ever for breweries to navigate the rapidly changing market, but Beer Media Co. is here to help. As a proud partner of the San Diego Brewers Guild, we are a full-service digital marketing and content creation company that works with San Diego breweries to reach new customers and create amazing engagement for their websites and social media accounts. If you're a small brewery owner trying to figure out this whole social media thing, or a large brewery looking to up their engagement, send us a message at info@beermedia.co because we know SD Beer.
Attention brewery professionals, are you looking to elevate your presence in the heart of San Diego's craft beer industry? Consider joining the San Diego Brewers Guild as a professional or affiliate member today. Access exclusive benefits designed to propel your craft to new heights. Gain entry to premier industry events and educational resources and forge vital connections within our brewing community. Visit sdbeer.com to explore the full list of advantages that a membership offers. Join the Capital of Craft podcast and the San Diego Brewers Guild, celebrating craft beer in San Diego since 1997.
So this is almost just trickling down to beer at this point, but the idea behind sustainable or more sustainable packaging has been going on for how long from your perspective, and what have you guys done internally to help push that initiative?
Well, I think it's been going on for a long time, and people are just kind of like, well, what do we do? One interesting thing that we've had, the fortune and been able to do is launch new brands and new initiatives. Right now we're working with somebody that's super exciting. It's called Cruise Foam. It's a product that is ideally going to replace EPS foam. That's 100% made from waste. It's made from it's called chitin. It's a shrimp shell waste pretty much. So it's a cooler or a foam that's 100% earth digestible. You can chuck this thing and it's gone in the landfill in 30 days, or you can recycle it. We got some fun stuff coming up too that's fiber-based, that's going to sub out zip ties. We're trying as an organization to launch these solutions to the market, whether you're a beer company or a snowboard company, and kind of bring these things to life, so to speak.
Yeah, we call it activating the innovators. So, we're searching them out. They actually search us out now. And then, we start figuring out like the ways that we can work with them to help them, get from being a startup to, actually getting their stuff out to the market. That Cruise Foam is probably the best example. We work with another company called Ecovative, and they're mushroom packaging. So they grow mycelium in 14 days, and they have a form product that, you can package your wine bottles in, or the cosmetic industry is really big for those guys. And then, Fishbone is another good example of some guys that were created this carrier, and, we help them get that to market.
So if I'm a small brewery and I have a staff of 5, I'm probably listening to this thinking, I agree with everything they're saying, but what impact do I have in using, and different products in my process or my packaging, and changing what we're doing to have that ethos. And how can I even get any ideas out there that I want products that fit these molds?
Well, that's a great question, and I think we're only as good as our partners. Like most of these solutions came to us because somebody came to us with a problem. Hey, I don't want to use these plastic rings anymore on a 6-pack, or I'm shipping a surfboard and I'm sick of bubble wrap. I don't want to deal with this. So a lot of the things that we come up with, these solutions are from partners, even if it's a small brewery or a small business going, hey, I want to change this. And then it's kind of our responsibility to work with them and kind of come up with the solution. And I
Mhm.
think on the smaller side, Fishbone's a really, really neat addition to our quiver of packaging solutions. I know Chad can probably speak better to it, but that's been a great solution we've had for smaller guys.
Yeah. I mean, paperboard carrier that customers get at home and they just throw it right into the recycling bin. It's an easy transition. And I think you know,
But I'm getting pack tex. There's a little recycle symbol on there. So
yeah,
like, what do you mean? Because I throw that in the recycling, and
yeah, that goes back to that wish cycling because it's truly not recyclable just in any MRF, right? That's the issue is the way some MRFs are set up. A lot
what
of
is some Murph?
a material recycling facility.
Got it.
And so that's where they're sorting most of them and then putting everything in, getting sold off to, the paper companies are buying the corrugate and the newspapers and magazines and stuff like that. And then the PET bottles are all going to a certain recycling center. But, at those MRFs, typically that's just going to go, it's going to fall out and it's going to go to the trash can or, another form of waste. It's not truly getting recycled. It really has to be set up with a certain, I think a lot of the breweries that are technically recycling them, they have to bring them all back to them. They have to get so many of them, and then they're able to actually get them to a true recycling
Yeah,
center.
and San Diego is slightly ahead on that. We have a nonprofit local called Brew Cycling, and
Yep.
they're actually they've created these collection sites throughout San Diego, and we have a couple breweries who kind of head that up, and they will take different recyclables and get it to the quantity where they can sell it off and cover those costs too. But um, there are some innovators like that, but you need scale and resources a lot of times. And what they're hoping to do with these pack decks now is then use them and then pulverize them down and into an asphalt eventually. But it's still difficult. And a lot of what you're mentioning though sounds great, but it sounds expensive. So what are some small things that a brewery or any manufacturer could do to implement process changes that might not affect their bottom line? Because that's really what a lot of people are worried about right now.
Well, yeah, and I think that's a great thing because I mean, sustainability usually the first thing you think of is a raised price, and I think what we try to aim for is what I like to call sustainable sustainability, and that means obviously it's sustainable for a business to continue to be sustainable. And a lot of times we'll do stuff with that, like our stretch wrap program. Almost every company that's shipping a lot of beer is probably using stretch wrap to put it on a pallet and to ship it to its end user, whether it's at Costco or it's a small liquor store.
Mm-hmm.
We've developed a system called Must, and then there's a few different systems below that use a variety of wrap patterns to actually use less stretch wrap. So you're actually saving money on this initiative, and you're saving a crap ton of plastic in the long run, strictly by using a higher gauge stretch film and using some of our patterns. And we send optimizers in to actually analyze how you're shipping, where your stuff's going. And that's a way that you can actually be sustainable with your packaging and save a crap ton of money and a crap ton of wasted plastic at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, the most sustainable thing that for your product is making it to its end destination, right? So that's what
Sure.
we try to help manage your loads getting there. I mean, that's what we probably as an organization are best at is like making sure that your load is staying secure throughout its transportation, whether that's on a cargo ship or a back of a tractor trailer. But once it arrives, the product's made it intact, and then it's like offsetting pricing. That's another thing you can do to like find sustainability, what or more sustainable ways. And we're selling you a higher gauge stretch film quality wise, but you're going to use way less of it. And, over time that money will offset.
Sure.
But then another thing to hit on too is like, there's simpler ways to just use less packaging, right? Like with like the EPR stuff that will eventually come, you want to like get ahead of it would be to like track what you're doing to use less. So let's say you're in a folded carton right now for a 6-pack. An example would be, even that's technically sustainable and recyclable, but if you went to say the C-clip fishbone carrier, that's less packaging, right? So the way that the fees would go with the EPR, that's a lower fee. And then if you're ahead of the game and you're recording it, then you kind of get the what's the word I'm looking for? But you get credit for it because you've done it ahead of time.
Okay, so what you're saying is right now it's a want but not a must-have to take these steps to be sustainable, but some point soon, whether it's in months or years, it is going to be a requirement, especially in a state like California.
For sure. It's definitely, I mean, it's coming. SB 54, it was passed the year before last. It goes into effect as of now on 2027, January 1st. So as of next year in California, if you're selling anything into California, whether you're a business in California or out, you're going to have to join the PRO, which is the Producers Responsibility Organization. To be a part, you have to be a part of that organization to sell your product. And then the fees will be set up. So eventually, the plastic you use or the paper you use there's going to be set rates that, for each one of those that you're going out at. And the important thing to note with that is the easier it is to recycle or compost, the lower the fee. So, a lot of the plastic films, those are going to have the higher fees than the fiber-based products.
So what is this ordinance actually asking of breweries or any manufacturer? It's just saying that they need to use less, or are there any specific parameters that are going to be required in terms of packaging or process changes?
Yeah, using less is the goal, right? So the extended producer responsibility, the idea is everybody uses less, uses more recyclable items, and then the money from those fees, what that's going to end up doing is it's going to like help the infrastructure of recycling, because we don't, as a whole in America, we don't do it great, right? A lot of people probably don't know this, but like
ship it all to China.
It was all going to China until 2018, and now we've got it all in this. Like we're doing a terrible job of it. A lot of these, the MRFs, as I was mentioned earlier, like most of those guys were set up in the 80s and 90s when newspapers were going to everybody's doorsteps, and like now nobody does newspapers. So these recycling centers, need the funding to do a better job to help get rid of all this, plastic that we're accumulating everywhere. So that's the idea behind the EPR, and it's also, like we mentioned, like activating the innovator type thing. Like hopefully some of that money will go to these people that are like finding solutions for better packaging.
And part of that EPR thing too is going to identify what is truly recyclable, because right now you have that chasing arrows sign that everybody's familiar with. But if you read the fine print, a lot of that stuff isn't actually curbside recyclable. So you're putting it in the recycling bin, but it's going to the landfill. A lot of times that means that those chasing arrows sign will mean that it was made from something previously recycled. Doesn't mean you can recycle it once you're done using it. So there is a lot of confusion there. And I think when everything passes and goes into effect, there's going to be a lot more responsibility on the actual producer, whether you're a brewery or you're a giant conglomerate company, to actually use responsible materials. And then if you're not using them, obviously you're going to be taxed accordingly. Yeah. So, I mean, that is in a couple of years, but our goal now is to get people ahead of it, because it's going to be a lot more expensive when it's a higher demand. And it, just like anybody knows, it takes a bit to transition. Transitioning is not necessarily easy, whether you're doing it out of the goodness of your heart or, legislation has a gun to your head. So what we're trying to do is transition people ahead of time, so it's not just a rush out of the elevator.
Support for this episode comes from BSG, proud partner of the San Diego Brewers Guild and wholly owned subsidiary of the RAR Corporation. With the select ingredients, industry experience, and dedicated customer service you need to create outstanding beers, BSG is ready to assist you in everything from recipe formulation to troubleshooting. Located within easy reach of most breweries, BSG serves San Diego area brewers from Oceanside, California. Become a customer today at bsgcraftbrewing.com.
Are there any companies within beer or outside of it that you feel are doing a really good job at sustainability with their packaging? And maybe some are really obvious and, like I said, put it on the label of their product, and maybe some don't brag about it as much. But who really stands out?
Yeah, I think of the people that are putting the effort in to like collect the pack tech, like that should stand out. I mean, because typically they're probably just going in the trash can, or people are doing the wish cycling and just throwing it in their bin, but then it's not getting truly recycled.
That's the first time I've heard that.
Yeah, that's like
and locally, like I'll throw somebody on a positive blast. Like I was just meeting with the folks at Juneshine, and it's neat when you start seeing, even if they're multi-titles, but you start seeing somebody that's managing the sustainability efforts.
Yeah, Juneshine is who I was referring
and
to.
It was really cool. The program at Juneshine, it's the collection that they're doing, and just every little thing is thought out. There isn't just waste. Like I've walked so many plants and you're just kind of cringing. You're like, this would be so easy for you to fix, but no one necessarily cares. Where there, everything was thought out. Even going back to what we were talking about with stretch wrap, it's a necessary, let's call it a necessary evil or a necessary thing right now. But even with those guys, they're gauging to a higher performance stretch wrap. They're using way less. And they're trying to be responsible with the collection of that film when they're done. So I think people that are, I guess, evolving it into their marketing story and a little bit more into their ethos of their brand. I mean, hell, we're 2 miles from the coast. Like people that are a small brewery or a big brewery, people that actually care, a lot of people are smart with it and they're actually absorbing into their marketing and be like, yeah, we're not forced to do this. We're doing it because we want to be good people, care
about the earth.
And I think the smaller you are, the easier it is to do that. And ideally you'll be rewarded for it. I mean, good things come back to good people trying to do good things for the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not, it's not so much about the what is the why often, right? And developing that as part of your ethos and culture to help influence any decisions you need to make when deciding what type of packaging or any changes or any investments you are going to make in your process.
Yeah, and that's what we're here to do, is to kind of guide that. I mean, sometimes there'll be no transaction made. It's just a lot of R&D or us recommending. I mean, we have tremendous resources. Where Chad works out of is our solution center, and it's literally, like, I kind of like to say
packaging lab.
It's a packaging lab. It's kind of like Morgan Freeman's lair in Batman. I mean, we have everything under the sun to test things, and sometimes we'll work with partners just to test a solution, even if we're not necessarily transactionally providing it, but we're trying to come up with things for the greater good. The other thing is our director of sustainability, this gal, Caroline, who is
Caroline Deloche,
beyond educated in the world of sustainability. And what she tries to do is actually debunk things that we may have. We might come up with a solution and then we're like, oh, actually, it's not that great. And that's her job, is to kind of, she's not on commission. Her job is try to find the best solution that is actually the best for the planet.
Her world is like life cycle analysis and different things like that I want no part of, because that's a lot of work. But yeah, she's a great resource for, and she's available, if we're working with a company and like they just want to talk with her, and like she, can jump on the phone with you and like help you learn like how to offset the prices, or like, with getting a good understanding of EPR and how it's going to affect you. Like that's what she's a great resource for.
Thank you guys for coming on today. But how could anybody listening learn a little bit more about what you have going on, or even other organizations that you really respect that you think people should look into?
Yeah, that's a great call. Definitely check out anewearthproject.com. We do a lot of storytelling there, so you can learn a little bit more about these, EPR deals, also just cool solutions that we've come up with and cool brands that we've worked with. Definitely Atlantic Packaging. It's atlanticpkg.com. You can see a lot of our capabilities there.
Yeah. And then, of course, fishbone.com, where you can check out our new C-Clip carrier, the beverage carrier that, help get rid of the plastic rings and the plastic caps. So just true sustainable solution.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers, buddy.